Hey everybody. Thank you replay viewers. Sorry you didn't catch us live. Hey Sonia. Hey Daphne. Hey Fortson. Hey Evan. Hey Christy. Oh my goodness, I just missed a whole bunch. Good morning. Can everybody hear me very good? I have my microphone plugged in. Is everybody able to hear me well enough? Excellent. Good. Hey Rudy. Good morning everybody. Thank you for the hearts. Yeah, keep those going, and I think some of you may know why. Keep those hearts going. Yes. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this class on diluting essential oils. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning. I can't read. Some of these are so small. AMG, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Or afternoon, as the case may be for some of us, possibly, depending on where we are. And of course, replay viewers, it could be any old time for you guys. Thank you for the hearts. They're absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. So this week's topic is on diluting essential oils. I know that makes Evan cringe, the term diluting, but that is what we want to do. I know for some of you it may make you think that we are making the essential oils less effective. But that is not the case, and I'm going to tell you why. I've been busy this morning making these cards for you. I thought it might be a little better than holding up my touchpad, and with all the glare and everything, I could just go like this, and you guys could see exactly what I'm talking about. So thanks so much for joining. I know we usually have Periscope classes on Monday. It's just the term that makes you cringe. Yeah, well, it does. It can, I guess it depends how you look at it. If you consider essential oils as concentrated substances, then I guess it sort of makes sense that you do want to dilute them before use. But that absolutely does not make them less effective for sure, and we're going to learn just why diluting them makes them more safe. So I know we normally have classes Monday at noon, and yes, you can join Monday at noon every single week for Periscope classes. The next class is going to be on anti-germ, and we're going to be kicking that off over on Google Hangouts Sundays at 7:30 p.m. And I think there's a misconception about diluting, because I think some people out there, they don't realize that essential oils need to be diluted. So they hear the term dilute and they're just not really sure what to do with that. Yeah, you just want to do it safely. Exactly. There may be confusion as to how to dilute, what to dilute. Are we meaning add it to water, add it to oil? Like, what do you mean by diluting? And it can be really frustrating to know just how to dilute. I actually get emails often, and a little bit later I'll be reading you one that I got last night about diluting. And it can be confusing, especially, it's one thing if you're using one essential oil, but it can be confusing if you're using several essential oils in a blend, and I'm going to be showing you how to figure that out as well. So before we get started, I love those hearts. I see some of you know just what to do. You guys are already ready. So for those of you who don't know, what I started on Monday actually was Heart Wars, okay? So as you're listening, you tap that phone and you send me some hearts, and that helps encourage me to keep going. It shows me that you're there, you're listening, that we have this connection, because otherwise I feel like I'm just talking to myself. I'm looking in a mirror, just talking to myself. So seeing these hearts shows me that you guys are there, and the one who taps the most hearts is going to win a copy of my book, The Truth About Essential Oil Safety, right here. And it's going to be an ebook that I will email you. I actually signed up with fullscope.tv so that I can better see who has tapped the most hearts, and honorable mentions are also going to be honorably mentioned, okay? So this is what I did with the book right here, is I printed it out, I put it in page protectors. Sometimes if you're diluting or creating things or otherwise engaged in reading while you're trying to make something, you can make a little bit of mess. So I like to make the habit, I do this with my cookbooks as well, putting them in page protectors to keep it safe. But that's a little bit off topic, isn't it? So we are going to begin the class, and I just want to get started by introducing myself for those of you who may be new. I'm Leah Harris, certified clinical aromatherapist and founder of usingeossafely.com. I've been presenting essential oil classes every week for the past couple of months, and I've been having tons and tons of fun. So I'm really glad to be able to squeeze in this extra class this week. If you are new to our classes, we do offer free classes. You can find all of those at usingeossafely.com. glare / EO class. That is where you can find all of our classes. And next week, like I mentioned, is going to be anti-germ. And if you go to usingeossafely.com/live class, then you can sign up for our class on anti-germ essential oils. So I'm going to begin by reading these to you. That diluting is for topical skin issues. So when we're talking about diluting, we're not talking about diluting before you add to your inhaler or your diffuser. This is for topical skin applications. I know we get that question a lot. Well, how much do I dilute before I put in my diffuser? Or how much do I dilute before I put in my inhaler? You don't have to worry about diluting when you do that. The air is going to be your carrier, basically. Okay? So why do we want to... Somebody tell me right now. Tell me why we want to dilute essential oils. Tell me. There's one major reason. There's several reasons. But the number one reason that I've actually already mentioned, I know some of you are stopping punching those hearts because you're trying, it can burn your skin. They are concentrated. Yeah, concentrated was the one I was looking for, but absolutely there's several reasons. Lessen chance of sensitization, way concentrated, prevents skin irritation. You guys, I can just throw away the first couple of cards. You guys got it. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is to protect us because they are potent and they are effective because they are very concentrated. That's what they are. So they won't hurt your skin. Absolutely. Very good. Carrier oil helps essential oil get into the skin. You got it. You've been cheating. You've been peeking over my shoulder. You've been spying on me. They are volatile. They are. And volatile means they evaporate into the air. So the carrier oils actually keep those volatile substances longer on your skin. I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you. So diluting provides a good medium for, I can't read backwards as well as I would like to, for the oil to absorb into the skin. Visual aids. Well, I think it helps. And you know, the visual aids actually helped me because I was going by my website. Yes, it helps EP lasts longer. I'm not sure what EP, oh, essential oil lasts longer. Okay, got it. I see you corrected it after. Yes, absolutely, it does help it to last longer. So yes, I did these for you guys. Like I said, I didn't want the glare in my touchpad. It also helped refresh everything for me and get me right into the mood. So that's why I have these. So it does help spread the oil over a larger portion of the skin for more effect. So if you have 1 drop of essential oil, it's only going to spread so far. If you add it to a carrier, you're still getting that drop. You add it to a carrier and it's going to spread it over a larger surface of the skin. And in fact, you know, these are really general terms. In fact, if you add, you might end up needing less than a drop if you're going to dilute it first and add it. You may not need that entire drop of essential oil. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. So some of you guys mentioned this already. Why we want to dilute. Some of you got these already. Let's see what ones you guys didn't get yet. So it decreases the chance of adverse reactions such as irritation, redness, phototoxicity, and sensitization. Now these are immediate adverse reactions that you will notice right away. Immediate meaning it could be instant. You could immediately, like right that minute, you could find that you have irritation. It could look red. However, phototoxicity and sensitization could take a little bit longer. However, sensitization, if we're talking short term, if this is your, say, your 20th time applying essential oils undiluted to your skin, you could react right then and there. Phototoxic reaction, yeah, it's generally not immediate. However, like I was just mentioning, sensitization is something that happens over time. It is an immune system response to long-term use of improperly diluted or neat essential oil usage. However, say this is your 20th time, this is your 3rd time, this is your 100th time using essential oils. Yeah, sensitization. It's not as easy to say, you're right. But, so this could be whatever time that is for you. This could be the 1st time, this could be the 10th time, this could be the 100th time that you're using essential oils not properly diluted. This could be the chance that you are going to immediately react. For phototoxicity, you could apply the essential oils, walk out into the sun, and you could get burned. So generally, you are going to see something within, you know, up to 24 to 48 hours. That's kind of considered an immediate reaction. Now, there's long-term systemic toxicity. Diluting decreases this long-term systemic toxicity. And some of these could be, we mentioned sensitization, which is generally, yes, it is generally a long-term thing. It could be, if you're pregnant, it could cause issues with your baby growing. It can cause liver damage, nerve damage, and it can cause cancer. Yes, essential oils can cause cancer. Let's just stop right there. I do have a post on my website. You can go to, let me make sure, using eossafely.com/cancer EOS to read more. Let's not get excited. Let's not get scared. You know, I'm just saying there is potential. Okay, very small, very, very low potential. I'm just saying it's there. You know, just like anything. I actually got kind of laughed at on my Facebook page a couple of weeks ago when I was posting about. Maybe I did a Periscope or I did some sort of class or something, and I was talking about how even water can be dangerous. And someone kind of laughed at me. They're like, yeah, right, yeah, water can be dangerous. Yeah, sure. Like, I talked to somebody and they said, like, you can't overdose on water. So I posted the news article that I had read a couple years ago about a woman who did drink 2 gallons of water and her stomach ruptured. She died as a result. So none of us are probably going to go out and do that. Some of the large companies go against this because of sales, honestly. If you're going to use a bottle of essential oil and you're going to use it neat, you're going to go through that bottle very quickly. However, if you take those 100 drops per 5 ml, if you take those 100 drops and you're adding them to a carrier and further diluting them, then that bottle will last you a lot longer. There's people that I hear that go through bottles in a month. Bottles. I have bottles that I've had. Now, again, I have a huge selection, so, you know, things are sort of spread out. A bottle should not last you a month. I think the only way I can get through a 5 ml bottle is if I used lemon essential oil and I was a really good housekeeper and kept on my house and had it smell good all the time and use it in my laundry and use it in this and use it in that. It's really difficult to use an entire bottle of essential oil. So that is one reason why there's not much mention of dilution. It's all about money, honestly. That's just their businesses. That's what businesses do. They look for the bottom line. The person who introduced me to oils does too. So that's just the way it is. So these signs, oh, I think I just hit my mic. I'm sorry about that. These do not show up right away. You go through bottles in a month, but okay, yeah. If you resell, right, if you sell products, obviously, right. I'm just talking about an individual user purchasing essential oils for themselves or their families. You're not going to go through essential oils that quickly. You just aren't. So these are not going to show up right away. So there's people that say, well, I drink water, I drink lemon essential oil in my water, or I use it neat all the time, and I've been doing this for 2 whole months, and I'm fine, I'm not dead. Well, let's talk in a couple more months, 6 months down the road, a year down the road, and see if you don't have issues that are cropping up. See if you don't have these weird pains in your digestive system. See if you don't have, you know, chronic pain, or you're tired, or tons of different health issues that may not be directly linked in your mind to the overuse or the unsafe use of essential oils, but they will show up. They will catch up with you. I do have a quote somewhere on my website about a man who was using several drops of eucalyptus oil every day, and honestly, I can't remember how he was using it. I don't think it was in water, but it may have been in water, and he was using this as a preventative. And several years in, he developed liver toxicity, I think it was. I don't think it was kidney, I think it was liver toxicity. So the point is, eventually your body will say, you know, I've had enough. This is too much for me. So, you know, that's a whole other topic right there. But let's just try to stick to diluting. But, you know, these are things that can happen if you do not dilute properly. Now, the liver damage is one that is probably more common for if you're ingesting essential oils, and that could be in your water, it could be in a capsule. Your liver still has to deal with it. But you can cause issues even using topically if you don't do it right. So, how much do you dilute? These are some really great questions to ask yourself when you're wondering how much to dilute. Now, the first question you ask yourself is, what is the toxicity of the essential oil? We always want to look for the topical max of the essential oil. Now, if you have Robert Tisserand's book, Essential Oil Safety, it makes it really easy for you to figure out what that topical max is. Phototoxicity, is the essential oil phototoxic, such as lemon or grapefruit or lime? Cinnamon oil in coffee. Well, I mean, there are exceptions to using essential oils. If she had cream in her coffee, then it's a little bit less risky to use essential oils. I know we've mentioned a couple of times you can use, say, a drop of peppermint essential oil in an entire batch of brownies. You are using a vegetable oil or butter or some sort of fat in that recipe. But honestly, for a cup of tea, I probably wouldn't just put a drop of cinnamon essential oil in there just for a cup of coffee or something. It might be a little too much. Unless there's valid reasons that, she's trying to heal something and that's okay with her healthcare provider, who is a trained aromatherapist or something. There are times where that could be okay. But as a general rule, we do not want to do that. We do not want to go down that road unless we know what we are doing. Thank you for those hearts. They're so beautiful. So phototoxicity is the other one. We want to know, is it phototoxic? If so, then we need to be careful when we're applying to our skin that we do not go aggressively on that one. And of course, quality matters. Yes, quality does matter. However, even if you have a high quality essential oil, you can still hurt yourself. Again, high quality essential oils means they are potent, they are very effective, and therefore they can also be dangerous if not used correctly. Same goes with poor quality essential oils. Really, they all have risks, honestly. It doesn't matter how high quality it is. They're all going to have risks, such as cinnamon. You still need to dilute properly. Yes, likely even more potent, absolutely. So other considerations are a person's age, health issues. If you're suffering with chronic health issues, if you are on medications, if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, these are other considerations that you need to keep in mind to know how much to dilute, or even if to use at all. There are some essential oils, if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, you want to avoid. And if you want to know, you can go to learningaboutEOS.com/pregnancy, and it'll bring you to a list right there. As for medications, that's also very complicated. If you are on blood thinners, there are certain essential oils which you want to avoid completely. So sometimes there just is no safe dilution depending on the factors here. And then also, if you're applying topically, you believe cinnamon oil caused you to miscarry or wasn't educated on essential oils at that time. I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. It's one of those things. It's difficult. I think a lot of times why we don't have, there's a lot of scientific data out there. Tisserand has 4,000 citations. There's a lot of proof out there that you have to be careful with essential oils. They can cause damage. But it can be difficult to pinpoint, was it the cinnamon oil? Was it something else? Was it just nothing? Was it, you just don't know sometimes. But there's plenty of times that we do know, and we can correlate, and we can say this caused this. Sensitive or damaged skin. If you have sensitive skin, damaged skin, if you have, say, athlete's foot is one example, then you want to be a little bit more careful on your dilution. If you don't have already damaged skin, you can go with a little bit higher dilution. So these are all considerations right here to take in consideration. So, to skip to, does anybody have any questions on anything I just covered before I go into exactly dilution levels and how much that means? And we will have a Q&A at the end, so I guess I'll just say feel free if you have any questions on what I'm covering right here as I'm speaking. As you have been doing, please feel free to interject. I'll be happy to break away and answer your question. Thank you for those hearts. You guys are awesome. So when we're talking about dilutions, after we decide how much to dilute, thank you, after we decide how much to dilute, we might decide that, we're going to go with a 0.25 dilution. That's what I decided we're going to do here. So what does that mean? If I know I need a 0.25 dilution because my child is under the age of 6, or whatever reason that may be, what does that mean in real life? So what that means is 1 drop of essential oil for 4 teaspoons of carrier. Okay, that's what that means. 4 teaspoons is 20 ml. So if you have a 20 ml roller bottle, and again, we're talking about topical applications, so a roller bottle may be something that you want to use. This is a 20 ml roller bottle right here. You can use 1 drop of essential oil. Back to work. Okay, thank you so much. Talk to you soon. So this is a 20 ml roller bottle right here. So 1 drop of essential oil and fill the rest up with a carrier, and you're done. This is a 0.25 dilution right here. Or what you can do is you can use, like this is a 2-ounce lotion bottle. Well, you can put oil, whatever you want in it, but it has a flip cap like for lotion to squeeze out. It's a squeezable bottle. So for 2 ounces, that would be, see, I got myself right into a corner. I didn't have this prepared. So 1 drop for 4 teaspoons of carrier. So 20 mil, so that'd be 60, so 3. Okay, so that'd be 3 drops in this entire 2-ounce bottle right here. So depending on the size of your bottle, and I have tons of charts on my website, okay guys? If you go to usingeossafely.com/dilute, you can find all the charts over there, okay? So please consider hydrosols first if your child is under the age of 6. Please consider hydrosols. Really under the age of 2, but you know, any age, consider hydrosols first. Why not? They are very effective. Now you may decide that you want a 1% dilution, and I like 1%. It's so easy to figure out. It's just 1 drop of essential oil per 1 teaspoon of carrier. It's it. 1 to 1, 1 to 1, 1 drop per 1 teaspoon. To your right to account for the heart. Oh, okay. My right, like this way, because it's covering the hearts for me. Is that right? Because it's flip side, so it's backwards for you. Okay, thanks. Excellent tip. Perfect. Okay, so 1% is 1 drop in 1 teaspoon. That's a 5 ml roller bottle. So let me see. I have my 5 ml roller bottle right here. So that's 1 drop. Fill the rest up with carrier. Or I have a 5 ml dropper bottle. 1 drop. Fill the rest up with carrier. Okay, so that's for 1% dilution. If you are using a 1-ounce bottle, this is a 1-ounce dropper bottle. Doesn't matter what kind of bottle, but if you're using a 1-ounce bottle, yes. If you are using a 1-ounce bottle, then you want 6 drops per ounce. Okay? If you have a 2-ounce bottle, then you want 12 drops per ounce. So I like 1. It's so easy. It's so easy. So 1% is great for kids over 6. It's great for during pregnancy. You want a low dilution during pregnancy. And of course, we like to say avoid during the first few months because, you know, research is very little on just how much these essential oils can affect a growing baby. So be careful. For the elderly, 1% is a good dilution. If you have a compromised immune system, and also for facial application, I don't like to go above 1% for facial application. Yes, there are going to be exceptions to the rule. These are general guidelines for you for 1%. Thank you for those hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, say you want a 2% dilution. Say you want something not for your face, but for your body. Or say, you know, this is a really good general all-purpose dilution for adults in general. Okay? Most situations, 2% is going to be very effective for you. So, this is, to get a 2% dilution, 2 drops in a teaspoon. 2 drops in a 5 ml roller. 2 drops in a 5 ml dropper bottle. 12 drops in a 1-ounce bottle. 12 drops. 24 drops in a 2-ounce bottle. So you're basically taking the 1% that we already know, 1 per teaspoon, and we're doubling it. And that's all we're doing. It was pretty simple. So now we're up to 3 to 5% dilution. Now, some cases, such as short-term, temporary, nope, didn't get it, health issue, I got part of it. I need to write, if I wrote a little bit neater maybe, then it would be easier for me to read backwards, but yeah. So short-term temporary health issue, such as, I think I already wrote some down, indigestion, congestion. There are lots of recipes that I give in my essential oil classes for adults, and I have 3 to 5% dilution that I'm recommending for that. So that will be how many drops? You tell me, how many drops in a 5 ml roller bottle for 3%? Somebody tell me you were listening. I haven't said this yet, but I think you guys can get it. So 5 ml is a teaspoon. Okay, 5 ml is a teaspoon. So if you want a 3% dilution in a 5 ml bottle, remember, 1% dilution is 1 drop. 2% dilution is 2 drops. 3% dilution, yes, you got it, is 3 drops. So 4% would be 4, 5% would be 5. That's all we're doing. We're taking the 1 teaspoon and we're adding each drop that you add to a teaspoon, that's the dilution that you are going to have. If you add 10 drops, then you have a 10% dilution. Very good. And so, yes, per ounce for 3 to 5. So 3 to 5 drops per teaspoon, and then that would be 18 to 30 drops per ounce, depending on which one you're going by. So there are times, thank you for those hearts, you guys are awesome. There are times you can go higher. There are times you can do a 10% dilution, 25% dilution. You know, if you have a really bad muscle ache, pain, cramp, spasm, you know, something that's really short term and acute, up it if you want. Now, this is not to say a 5% won't be effective. I always say try to 3 to 5% first. Okay? If that doesn't work, add more drops. Don't feel ashamed or guilty or like you're being unsafe if you go higher dilution. Now, this is, of course, speaking of the essential oils that do not have a topical max of whatever it is. If you have, say, clove essential oil, which has a topical max of 0.5%, and you're going up to 10%, not smart, not smart. Find something that you can use that does not have a topical max, okay? Does that make sense? Sometimes you can even go up to 50%. Sometimes. Now, this is not something you're going to be doing all the time. But if you have a burn, if you just got stung by a bee, if you have, what's the other one? Oh, bug bites. I have a really awesome bug bite soother roller bottle recipe that you guys, I'm sure, maybe already aware of on my website. And that is a 50% dilution. And the reasoning for that is because one swipe takes care of it. One swipe, you are done. You do not have multiple applications. So if you are using that 50% dilution and you're applying it one time, you know, it's all about risk versus benefit, right? Risk versus benefit is what it's all about. So if you are using that 50% dilution, which is risky, right? Okay, it's risky, but you have a sting. You just got stung by a bee. You need something on there ASAP. In which case, it's possible in emergency situations that you can use essential oils with no dilution at all. This is not something I recommend, okay? I do recommend, I'll get to that in a second. So, for certain situations where you may need no dilution are, like what I said about the 50%. It may be a bad burn, a bad sting. You might not have time. You might just be able to reach for that lavender and splash a couple drops on. That is okay. All right? That is probably overkill, but the risk versus benefit at that point in time, if you are dealing with a burn or a sting, you need that to stop. You need that to end now. And there's no surefire way to get it to stop than to put essential oils on. I do believe, however, it is going to be more effective, though, for you if you do use a carrier. But if you don't have the few minutes, you know, you just got stung, you just got burned, you don't have time to sit over there, even if you know what you're doing, and mix up a bottle. So my suggestion, be prepared. Make it up ahead of time. That means right now, today, this week, don't wait till you get stung, don't wait until you get burned, make up a bottle. Okay, I know it's difficult to just, you know, there's things on your to-do list that you're like, yeah, I'll do that, yeah. No, write it down. Write it down somewhere. Write it down and get it done. If your kid is burned, gets stung, whatever, yes, make all the goodies. Make it. Get it done. Store it. It can last as long as the shelf life of a carrier is generally less than the shelf life of an essential oil, unless we're talking about jojoba oil. So what I recommend is store them in the refrigerator until you need them, unless you're using jojoba, because that will, it will be solid. Jojoba is a liquid wax, so if you refrigerate it, it's going to be hard as a brick. You're not going to be able to use it unless, you know, unless you mix it with aloe vera, which I actually have a burn salve that I have a 50-50 mix of aloe vera and jojoba oil, and that does stay nice. It stays thick, and it's a gel, but it's not hard, and it can be used. So my suggestion to have these things ready is make up a roller bottle. Just do it, you know? Put some drops of lavender in here, get it ready to go, and helichrysum, whatever you want to do, and just have it ready. That's all you have to do. It's just a little guy right here. You just add drops, you know, whatever. I prefer 50% dilution for emergencies. You know, that's fine. I also have an Oracacia bottle that's already pre-diluted helichrysum and jojoba that I have a couple of them throughout my house. And I also have some in my, actually I have to show you this, it's so cute. This is so, you guys. This is so adorable. Okay, prepare to die. This is so cute. Look at that. It's a mini dropper bottle. If you refrigerate it, it actually lasts longer than the typical shelf life. Okay, so back to my point of making small batches. If you made a, where's my 5 ml? If you took a 5 ml bottle, and if you're talking for emergencies, you don't expect to get stung by a bee, you don't expect to get burned, reuse an old bottle. If you're done with something, particularly something you're going to be using, but it is not that necessary. Say you run out of your lavender, for example. Use a lavender bottle. You know, when you get some new lavender, fill it up halfway with essential oils. Say lavender and helichrysum, just helichrysum, whatever you want to do. Fill it up halfway with those essential oils. You can eyeball it. You do not have to count the drops out. Just eyeball it halfway. Then fill it up to the neck with a carrier. Okay, it's that easy. I think most of us have lavender, and please get helichrysum if you don't already have it. You can run it through a dishwasher. You can just use hot soapy water and then let it air dry. I have a jewelry cleaner. It's like $20, $25 on Amazon. That can help clean it as well. You can use vinegar or alcohol if you want to rinse that bottle out. But you can reuse them, okay? It's very, very simple. So fill it up halfway with your essential oil. Yes, and that exactly, and that's what I was going to get to as well. I have dropper bottles. Like here's one that's a 15 ml dropper bottle. Don't peek. This is my anti-germ recipe for Sunday. Shh. So this is a 15 ml dropper bottle. I love dropper bottles. It just makes it so easy because sometimes, depending on what essential oils you use, you're like waiting forever for it to come out. So you can use a dropper bottle. This is a 15 ml. Again, fill it up halfway. Soak in vinegar and dish soap to remove oil, then run through the dishwasher. Yes, absolutely. And then you're ready to go. You undo it. And again, you don't have to refrigerate. You do not have to refrigerate. If you're making up a small batch, you know, how much are you wasting? If you're, say you do make up a 5% blend for whatever emergency, you don't have to do 50%, okay? You don't have to do that for a burn. Honestly, I have used the Orocacia pre-diluted helichrysum and jojoba, which they say is between a 3 and 5% dilution. Thank you for those hearts. It's so beautiful. And I've used that. I get splattered by hot grease. I bump my head, get a bruise. And I use that. It goes right away. It's very, very, very effective. So if you are worried about wasting, 50 drops of essential oils in here, don't do it then. Use a 3 to 5% dilution, which means you're only using 3 or 5 drops. 3 or 5 drops. I think we can all spare 3 or 5 drops of our essential oils for an emergency situation. Yes, I'm rambling, but hey, this is important. This is important, okay? Be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared, okay? You don't need it until you need it, so be prepared. Yes, you can store it in the fridge. You don't have to store it in the fridge. So that would depend on your carrier oil shelf life. I do recommend jojoba though, in which case you can leave it out and available for whenever you need it. So yes, stick to small batches, especially if you are not sure. If this is for an emergency situation and you are not sure if you're going to use it and you don't even want to waste 3 to 5 drops, stick to small batches. 5 ml roller bottle, they're really, really small. And actually there's even more mini ones. Cross-contamination, no, not really. Essential oils, they are antimicrobial. Every single last one of them, they're antimicrobial by nature. However, if you're worried about, say you used up a clove bottle and you want to put other ones in and you're worried knowing that clove needs a high dilution, for one thing, there's probably barely any trace in there. But go through those steps that Daphne mentioned about, wash out with soap or vinegar or alcohol, run through your dishwasher, whatever you want, and you really don't have to worry about it. You really don't. There's going to be very minute trace amounts maybe of the essential oil left, and it's really not something to worry about at all. So please make up small batches, okay? You can, if you're making up a master blend, use the small batch, use the 5 mils for small blends. If you are making pre-diluted, 15 mil is a really great size for pre-diluted, okay? So if you want these already made up, You keep my your bug bite soother with you all the time, just in case. Yes, I do too. I have it right in my purse. Okay, this is what I put in my purse. This is a bag, as you can see, from River Tree Life, and I have a ton of things in here. And that is one that I do have. Absolutely. I have a couple inhalers. I have the bug bite one. I mean, absolutely. And that little bottle with helichrysum. Oh, but it's so cute. So if you're using something frequent, and this is just across, this is not for emergency, okay? This is just if you're making up pre-diluted blends, and it's something that you are using frequently, use a bigger bottle, okay? Go for a 2 ounce bottle. Go ahead and use, and this is for me all the time. You will not find me making an 8 ounce bottle of lotion or something. I will not do that. There's for several reasons. For one, I might change my mind. I might get sick of it. I may want to try something else. And then I'm going to have all these bottles of essential oil, you know, diluted in lotion or carrier oils or whatever all over the place. 2 ounce. You know, this is going to last you, I mean, it depends how often you use it. It can last you a couple weeks, you know, whatever. And then you don't have to worry about if it gets bad before you use it all, which is probably not too likely. But if it does, you know, you can throw it away. It's only a little bit. It's not that much. It's not an entire bottle. If it's something that you're using infrequently, you know, use a smaller bottle for it. And then again, if you don't get to it and it does go bad, you're not losing very many pennies over it. So, those are general terms. How do you know if it's gone bad? That's a great question. If it's pre-diluted, that means you're adding it to a lotion, you're adding it to a carrier. The carriers often smell rancid when they go bad. I had argan oil too long, and I love argan oil. Love argan oil. It's beautiful for the skin. It actually smells delicious when it's fresh. However, after, you know, about a year and realizing I'd left it on my counter and not really paying much attention to it and going to use it, it smelled like fish. Like, it was bad. Like, you know, like, it's just like, it was kind of tangy, pungent fish smell. So you can usually tell when it's bad. Yeah. As for essential oils, if you've made a master blend and you are not sure, that may be a little bit difficult to tell until you use it. If you're using it and all of a sudden you're starting to get red or it's itchy or irritated, then it could be that one of the essential oils that you have in here has kind of oxidized first. And you can find a lot more information about that on using eossafely.com/welcome shelf life. I have an entire post devoted to shelf life, how to tell when it gets bad, what to do with them when they get bad so you're really not wasting them, and more information over there. Someone asked, does jojoba extend the shelf life of a blend? I wouldn't say it extends the shelf life of a blend per se. Like, it's not going to change the fact that the essential oils may have a shelf life, where jojoba pretty much has an indefinite shelf life. So if you are combining essential oils with jojoba, then what you want to do is you want to figure out what is the shelf life of my essential oils. And if you have a blend that has several single essential oils in it, what you're going to do is you are going to find the shelf life, the shortest shelf life in the blend you have. So say you have sandalwood, which has very long shelf life, at least 6 years, and you have it mixed with, say, orange. Orange has a shelf life of 1 year. So if you're combining sandalwood and orange, in jojoba, you're going, okay, the sandalwood is 6 years, the orange is 1 year, the jojoba is like forever. So you're going to go by the 1 year. That's what you're going to go by. So again, if it's something that you're not using frequently, make smaller batches. So if a year comes around and you haven't refrigerated it, because as we know, refrigeration, cool, dark places, avoid light, can extend the shelf life. It may last 2 years instead of 1. So, you know, light bulb. I love groovy, so funny. Yes, exactly. So that's what you want to do. Just think about it. And I do have, if you go to usingeos.com/usingeossafely.com/shelf life, then I give you really good guidelines on how long they last. Yes, Sharpie the date on the bottle cap. Yes, absolutely. You know what? We all think we're going to remember things, and we just don't, okay? We're going to make up this blend, okay? See, here's my anti-germ original. See that? I don't have the ingredients on here. I have it written down somewhere else. But if you just made this up, okay, say you made this up. This is for Sunday. Sneak peek, guys. Thanks for the hearts. Say you made this up, and you just put anti-germ, like I did, and you set it aside, and then you're wondering, exactly, and then you're wondering later, what's in this? Like, there's something in there that say you don't like the smell of something, or say your child reacted to something, or you just found out something in it you can't use, or whatever, and you're not sure. Write it down, okay? There's people that sell labels, okay? River Tree Life sells labels in all shapes and sizes. That's just one example. There's you can find them on Amazon, you know, write it down. At least keep a notebook, you know, keep a master notebook with all of your recipes and all of your blends so that you remember, because the sad thing is, and I've done this, okay, I admit, I have made a blend that I've absolutely loved, that I just created by inspiration, okay? I know the safety, I kind of know what I'm doing, I kind of know what I want, but I'm just like, yeah, this, and yeah, I'll just kind of like throw these things together, and you love it, and you can't replicate it. You're done. You can't replicate it. Yes, you kept smelling your blends to figure out what is in it and made myself dizzy. Exactly. So write it down, okay? We like to think we're going to remember because, oh yeah, I'll definitely remember this. These are my favorite, this or that, and this is great for anti-aging and whatever. I've done this, guys. You will forget. Everybody forgets. So if you don't label it on your bottle, yes, food recipes too. I've done the same thing with food recipes too, absolutely. Just throw things together because you're inspired, and it's delicious. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But then you can't remember, you can't replicate it. Oh man, if you'd only taken just a minute. So I suggest have a master notebook, have a computer program, whatever you want to do to make sure that even if you're going to say anti-germ, that you have a place that you can go to know exactly how you made it so that you do not forget. Unless, of course, you're making my recipes and you can go to my website. But again, if you're making your own, please write it down, okay? Please, please, please. Evernote is awesome. You know what? I just finally, this last week, signed up with Evernote. I know. My life has literally changed this last week. Totally off topic, guys. I'm getting my crap together. Totally. I am so organized. I'll probably have a book out by the end of the year. I might not. I have so much to do, but I feel so organized and productive this week because I'm just getting it all together. So yes, Evernote is awesome. Evernote is awesome. And you know, I kind of knew that, and I'd used it before, and then I can so anyways. Yes. So, recap. An app, but also online. Yes, whatever. However, yes. Okay, so Evernote, I have it on my phone. I have it on the computer. I downloaded it. I have it online. Just like have it everywhere, and it syncs. So it's really, really awesome. It's a great place to stick your stuff so that you know what you're doing. So again, 5 ml, whether it's a roller bottle, whether it's a dropper bottle, or let's see, yeah. Well, it's not a dropper bottle. What would you call this? A regular old essential bottle. Energy. Oh, you know what? I've been feeling so good this week, guys, okay? I have been feeling so energetic, and the only thing I've done different, I have what's called a happy light. Okay, you know how I was talking about sedatives, and I was talking about getting my sleep together and everything, and how I have those really cute orange glasses that I put on at night, right, okay? To block the blue light. Well, duh, like, if I'm avoiding blue light at night so I'm sleepy, maybe I should blast myself with blue light during the day so I have energy. And you know, I didn't really think it was going to work, but I just feel so energetic. So yes, thank you for noticing. I just feel so pumped up. So I have this huge umbrella light here for video, and I have this happy light over here blasting me from this side. Hello, thank you for joining, Joy. Yes, so it's very effective because here, this room I'm in is not very, there's not a lot of light in here. So there's so much light, and it's just, I'm sure that's not the only thing, but it's really the only thing I've changed this week. So, I don't know. Pretty awesome. You know, no, actually scratch that. It's the secret blend that I made, that I diffused, that I can sell you for about $99, okay? So, there we go. Maybe I should do that. No, it's not. So, 5 ml roller bottle. Okay, 1 drop is 1%. Okay? 2 drops is 2%, so easy. 10 ml roller bottle, okay, 1 drop is 0.5%, 2 drops is 1%, etc. And again, I have all these charts on my website. 20 ml roller bottle is 4 teaspoons. So if you have 1 drop, you have a 0.25% To get up to 1%, you're going to need 4 drops because it's big. So here's the 5, the 10, and the 20. Okay, guys? So having said that, okay, there's more to come, I see, okay? Exactly, I am so, you guys have been totally spying on me. I'm telling you, look, you've been reading my notes. That's what that was what I was going to say next, having said all that, okay? Some require extra dilution. So, yes, I know. So, the reason for them needing to require extra dilution could be they may cause irritation. It may be because they're phototoxic. It may be because they are carcinogenic. There could be several reasons why they might require extra dilution. So, everything I just told you in the beginning here, that's all for those, the general essential oils that don't have a topical max. Now, as we know, there are some that do have a topical max, okay? Here are a few examples, okay? This is just a few examples, and all of this and more you can find on using eossafely.com/dilute. Then wouldn't that be the EO dilution to go by? Yes, because you're not putting them on your feet, absolutely. Yes, so these would be the dilutions to go by, but it gets trickier if you're making a blend, and I'm going to discuss that as well. So for birch, the topical max you're going to need for birch and wintergreen as well, because they're blood thinners and a bunch of other things. It is 2.5%, okay? So that means in your 5 ml, you need 2 1/2 drops. Good luck with that. For birch, that is going to be your max. Okay, and it's really fun. Ooh, it's so fun when you're trying to get a 0.1% dilution in 5 ml bottles. That ain't happening. Okay, not happening. So here's some more here. Peppermint, and this is due to neurotoxicity, 5.4% max. Wintergreen 2.4, ylang ylang 0.8, and I got confused. I was going by 0.7. If you go to my aphrodisiac page, you'll see I put 0.7 and it's really 0.8. So, oh my word, that's such a difference, I know, but you know, so anyway, I just kept thinking it was the same as jasmine, which is 0.7, but I guess it's not too bad. Thanks for those hearts, guys. So these are the topical maxes, and as you can see, there's more that do have topical maxes. These are just a few. Lemongrass 0.7. Yes, I know, 0.7. So some of these may be familiar to you. Of course, some of these may be familiar to you, but if you have blends, if you have pre-diluted blends that contain any of these or any of the other ones, you need to be careful using them, because unfortunately, some of the companies that sell some of these blends aren't paying attention to these maximum dilutions. They may have lemongrass as the very first essential oil in that blend. And how do you know if it's diluted to 0.7%? You don't know. How do you know if the oregano is 1.1%? There's no way of you to know. They're not going to tell you. That's okay. Cinnamon bark instead of leaf. You know, that is okay. That is okay. It depends is that the anti-congestion? Because if you're diffusing cinnamon bark, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about it. In fact, I love cinnamon bark. The aroma of cinnamon bark to me is a lot more pleasant than cinnamon leaf, to me personally. So if I'm going to be diffusing something, I'm going to be using the bark. None of that leaf stuff for me. That's only if I'm going to be using topically. So it's okay. But yes, as you can see, so you're fine. Don't even worry about it. You're inhaling. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So yes, you can see the difference between cinnamon bark and leaf. So this can cause problems, and this is why most companies' pre-made blends, I'm not going to buy unless I'm going to diffuse it, because they don't know. They don't know. They won't tell you. You won't know if these are safe or not, and they don't care to make any changes. So that's a good reason why you want to make your own. So here is a comment from Kat that I got emailed. I referred to this in the beginning. Thank you for those hearts, guys. You guys are awesome. You can rest your fingers if you need to. I'm sorry. I don't mean to bribe you, make you break your fingers over hearts. I know you want my free book. I know. I know you want the book. You want to win the book. Punch, punch, punch. So here's a quote from Kat. She says, I read your article on diluting essential oils and I have a question. You discussed the appropriate dilutions for singles oils, but what if I'm mixing several? I make my own body oil using a mixture of carrier oils and a mixture of essential oils, frankincense, myrrh, geranium, clary sage. Does the same still hold true, or would the concentration be too strong? For example, she says, 1 teaspoon of almond oil equals 1 drop each of the essential oils. So this is a common question that we get asked, okay? We meaning me, meaning me. We meaning on the Facebook group. And this is a great question, and it's one that comes up. So if you want a 1% dilution in your 5 ml bottle, and you're adding 1 drop, does that mean you can add 1 drop of 5 different ones? Is that okay? No, it's not. Because if you're adding what would be a total of 5 drops, you're going to have a 5% dilution. So what I suggest is to make a master blend, okay? This is just essential oil in here, okay? This is just essential oil. And yeah, I know there's not much essential oil in here. I really needed a 5 ml dropper bottle. I couldn't find any. So this is a 15 ml. But the point is, you make your master blend first. And once you've made that, and I will show you how in a second here, then you can add 1 drop, or however many that you need, of your master blend to your roller bottle. Does that impact how you rate companies then? It does impact. It does. It does have a consideration. I know, but see, ever heard of Amazon Prime? Of course I've heard of Amazon Prime. I've been an addict for years. I tried to find 5 ml dropper bottles, and either I couldn't find any, or it was like $7 for one, or some crazy thing. I couldn't get anything reasonable. It seems like the 5 ml I couldn't find with a dropper bottle top. But anyways, I know. So, what was the question? Oh, impact companies. Yes, it does. It does affect companies. But you know why? Safety. Safety, people. If they don't have the wherewithal enough to figure out, or to even know that they even need to dilute appropriately, why support them? Why support companies? Why? Make your own, you know? They're in it to make a buck. They're businesses. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, businesses are there to make money. But it's great when they also care to either have the knowledge themselves, or hire people that do have the knowledge that can then say, look, this blend is great, but you know, we need to bump lemongrass down a bit, because that 0.7% is going to cause some reactions, and you don't want to get sued, right? Okay? So, you know, you have to be careful. So yes, I absolutely take that into consideration, because this is important. This is important. You do not want to react. So, let me give you a real life example here, okay? Say you want to make a muscle rub, okay? Yeah, 10% total, not individual, right. So, say you want a 10% dilution for your muscle rub. Right, well, I mean, it depends. I mean, it depends, okay? If the blend doesn't have anything real scary in it, then it's probably fine. And again, if you're going to diffuse it, if you're going to inhale it, then there's not so much of an issue. But if you're going to apply it to your skin, you really need to know what you're doing. So here's an example for a muscle rub, okay? If you're making a muscle rub, and you know that you want a 10% dilution, because you have pretty sore muscles, you know you want a 10% dilution, okay? And you know that you want to include peppermint, because you know peppermint is really good for muscles. Now, you know that peppermint has a 5.4% maximum dilution, and you want that 10. So your brain's probably going, what am I going to do here? What do I do here? So what you're going to do is you're going to say, I'm going to make up a 1 ounce bottle of this muscle rub, because I'm going to use, you know, a couple teaspoons at a time, and I'm probably going to have to use it for a few days. So I think 1 ounce is good for me. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. If you know a 1% dilution for a 1 ounce bottle is 6 drops, right? 6 drops in 1 ounce makes 1% dilution. Okay? And I'm making this math really easy. And you want a 10% dilution? Then you need a total of 60 drops, right? Okay, so you know you need a total of 60 drops in this one bottle. Now, if you have a dilution for peppermint, because we're just going to round down to 5%. Okay, I'm not doing the 0.4. I'm ignoring the 0.4 and going down to 5. Okay, so we have 5% dilution of peppermint, which is 30 drops, right? Okay. And say we also want to include wintergreen, because that's also good, but we know that wintergreen has a 2.4 maximum, right? So we're going to round that down to 2% as well, okay? So now we have 2% wintergreen, which is 12 drops. 12 drops per ounce is 2%, right? Okay? So now we're left with 3%. And we're going to go with copaiba because that does not have a maximum. So we're going to go with copaiba for the rest of that 3%. So here, it does take work, but this is what you have to do, okay? What is your goal percentage? How much are you going to make? Figure out how many total drops, and then break it down by what you know that you need in your blend, and do not go over that maximum. So this way, it's already properly diluted. You know you're not going to go over that maximum. If you use this entire bottle all over your body, you are still not getting more than that 5.4% peppermint or that 2.4% of wintergreen. You're not going to do it. So that's one way of doing it. Now, more commonly, you may wish to make a master blend. Okay, and this is where it might get a little bit more complicated, because you have to figure out what percentage of stuff to put in your master blend, and then to know how many drops from that into whatever you're making is going to make what percentage of it, and are you going over. So that can be, it's like a kind of a two-step thing. You have to kind of think ahead already. So here's an example for that, and I hope you can follow me with this. Okay, so here's an example of my Infatuation blend, and this is how I had to come up with it. This is what I do when I am making blends, okay? It takes a little bit of math and a little bit of writing out to make sure what you're doing is going to be safe when you use it. Boy, you guys are still punching those hearts. I appreciate that so much. Yes, I've done the thinking for you. I sure have. So here's an example. I like to make 5 ml at a time for a master blend, okay? 5 ml, and there's several reasons. Again, if there's something you like, you don't like, you don't end up using it, or whatever, then a 5 ml is a good size. Please do not make a whole ounce of master blend unless you're selling things, because you may not use it. Small blend, okay? Small master blend. So 5 ml. Now, we generally like to say that 100 drops can fit in a 5 ml. Okay, you may be able to fit more. We're only going to imagine 100 drops, okay? Yes, there are different size drops to complicate everything. Maybe a little bit bigger from one company to the other. Actually, this, I just threw this together right now. So, I just threw it together right now. I don't have that on my website. This I do. You can find this Infatuation blend at usingeosafely.com/aphrodisiac, and if that's too hard to spell, just go to usingeosafely.com/eoclass, and then you have a list of all the classes, including blends for Infatuation. I have anti-congestion blends, and I have sedative blends over there. And next week will be anti-germ. So this is how I calculate it out for master blends, okay? So we're saying a 5 ml is 100 drops. That's what we're going to assume, okay? Now, this is my recipe that you can find. Coriander's 34 drops, jasmine is 15 drops, ylang ylang is 15 drops, tangerine is 18, and vanilla is 18. Now, we know that there's a limit. There's a topical max, or however you want to say it. There's a limit of how much that we can use on our skin topically. So I had to tweak this recipe a little bit to make sure that you can use this. So what I did is I made my recipe, and you can do this. You can throw together a recipe, and then what you can do is say, okay, if I used 1 drop of this recipe, what is that going to mean? So for this recipe, if you're using 1 drop in your, say, your 5 ml roller bottle, you're using 1 drop, that is going to be 0.5% jasmine. Sorry, 0.15% jasmine. Okay? 100 drops, 15 drops, 0.15% jasmine. So are we below the 0.7? We are. So how far can we go? Can we go 2 drops? Can we go 3 drops? We can go up to 4 drops before we're going to go over. So 4 drops is 0.6% for jasmine. Now for this recipe, I include jasmine and ylang-ylang. So I'm doubling that, 15 plus 15, as a 0.3. And I'm telling myself, okay, if I'm going to use 1 drop in this 5 ml roller bottle, am I going to go over that maximum? Well, you're not, because you're only going to be at 0.3. If you use 2 drops, you are going to be at 0.6. You are still safely under the topical max for jasmine and ylang-ylang. Okay, does that make sense? So you want to tweak this. If you figured out that, say you're using 30 drops of jasmine, 30 drops of ylang-ylang, that's going to be 0.6 for 1 drop. Now, if you're okay with making a 1% dilution, then fine, that's cool. But if you want to be able to use stronger dilutions for things, you have to take that into consideration. And you have to then back off on the ones that have topical maxes. So I hope that makes sense. So you just kind of have to play with it. And this is going to be different depending on what kind of blends that you make. It can be confusing. The best way to figure this out is to post in our group. Go to usingeossafely.com/FB. That will bring you right to our group. You can say, look, this is what I want. This is what I have. What can I do? You know, because your goal is, if you're doing this master blend and you are, it's going to be different. You know, it's going to be different. Just like we did with the wintergreen. You know, we had to figure out how many drops to not go over that maximum. You know, it's the same thing. So post in that group with your specifics. Say, look, I want a muscle blend that's 10%, and all I have is peppermint. What can I do? You know, and then we can suggest, you know, to bump that up, add copaiba or add lavender or whatever it is. Now, here's another maybe more simplified example, okay? Here's a simplified example. If you have 100 drops in your master blend and you have 50 drops of clove and 50 drops of lavender, just imagine ahead, and this is the thing, you need to imagine ahead. So if you have this master blend of essential oils, okay, and you're going to be adding 1 drop of this mixture, 50 clove and 50 lavender, to an ounce of carrier oil, which you're then going to use, how much clove is that going to be? What is going to be the topical max of that clove when you do that? It's going to be 0.5%, okay? 100 drops. Just throw the decimal in, okay? 1 drop is going to be 0.5%. Think about it. You have 1 drop, and you know it's half clove and half lavender, right? So 1 drop, half of that is going to be clove. It's 0.5%. Diluted in 1 teaspoon of carrier oil. Okay, so does that make sense? Now, clove does have a maximum of 0.5%. Now, if you wanted to take, if you needed, say you needed a 2% blend, you can't do that with clove unless you're going to go over. You're gonna be at 1% with clove. You need to be at 0.5. So what you can do is you can tweak this master blend, which is 50 clove, 50 lavender. You can adjust it. You can make it 25 clove and 75 lavender. Then, when you're adding the drop to your teaspoon, or your 6 drops to your ounce, whatever the case may be, you're going to be at 0.25. You're only going to be at 0.25 because you reduced it. So then you can use 2 drops, and you're at 0.5, and that's safe. So you can then use a 2% dilution. Okay, does that make sense? Now again, there are different topical maxes for different essential oils, which means you kind of have to take this one at a time. I personally prefer to try to avoid most of these if possible, or if I do include them, try to only include 1, 2 if I have to, simply because it makes the math better for me in formulating the formula. There are tons. Thank you for those hearts. You guys must be getting tired. There are a ton of essential oils that do not have topical maxes. We don't have to worry about that. If you want something for muscles, you don't have to use wintergreen or birch. You can use copaiba. You can use something else. You know, there's plenty of things. You know, cinnamon bark is great for germs. Diffuse it, inhale it. But if you're going to be applying topically to your skin, use tea tree, right? Does that make sense? So did I put all of you to sleep with that heavy math? I hope that made sense to some of you. I hope I made that as clear as possible. I know it can seem diffusing. It can seem confusing, but I hope that made sense. So do you guys have any questions on anything that I said. I'm glad it was helpful. Thank you. And again, if you have specifics, I know it's going to be different depending on several different factors. Post in the group, okay? Post in the group and ask us your questions, and we will be happy to help you figure out the math for you. So does that make any sense? Hey, Lisa. See you're joining again. So do you guys have any questions before I sign off? Any questions? Yes, replay. The maximum rates were determined. Yes, I will show that card again. And this, you can actually find this on the Aphrodisiacs class, but this, I was just trying to explain how I came up with it. So the maximum dilutions were determined by several, you can find this on Periscope up to 24 hours, guys. I also have a catch account, katch.me/using EOS safely, and you can find all of the recordings there. Sometimes it allows me to upload to YouTube, and sometimes it doesn't allow me to upload to YouTube. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to embed this Periscope right on top of the diluting post that I have. Okay, I'm going to put that right in there for you guys so that you guys, or maybe I'll put it on the bottom so that you guys can replay it, and I'll insert it right there. Yes, so it's, the topical maxes are for several reasons. Yes, Robert Tisserand did all the research in the Essential Oil Safety book. Yes, the rates. So to come up with those rates, he took several things into consideration. He took, he has 4,000 citations, scientific research documents that he's gone over to take all of this into consideration. And these are, you know, at what percentage did people start having reaction? You know, there's tons of different data and research out there how we came up with this. You know, it could be irritation on humans or irritation on mice, or, you know, adverse reactions that have happened, you know, either phototoxicity or sensitization. There's a lot of factors in consideration. And most of these, in fact, the safety indications for essential oils do not come just from the exact essential oil. So if there are safety indications for wintergreen, it's because citations are not a bad thing. No, citations are references. So he has over 4,000 references proving, backing up what he's saying. So, I totally lost it. What was I saying? Can somebody just tell me what I was just saying? What was I saying? Something about, okay, it's constituents. Right, got it. So constituents. So it's all about the constituents. Okay? So the thing that may be causing peppermint to have, actually let me do clove and eugenol. Okay, the reason why clove needs to be diluted to 0.5% is because of the high percentage of eugenol that's contained in clove. So there may be other essential oils that may contain a lesser amount of eugenol, and therefore, and therefore we can use a higher amount, but because of the high amount of eugenol in clove, and because eugenol itself as a constituent has been found to, say, cause cancer, cause irritation, cause whatever, then it's due to the percentage of eugenol in the clove that we then get, now we can only use it at 0.5%. And just like lemon, or say bergamot or something, that they have phototoxic constituents in it. There's actually bergaptin that's in bergamot that can be removed through fractional distillation. You can remove that and it's no longer phototoxic. So what you're doing is you're extracting those constituents out of bergamot to make it safe to use on the skin. And this is something found in the rinds. So you can have steam distilled, say steam distilled lemon is going to allow you to use more than a 2% dilution without risking phototoxicity. So what they're doing is, it's not different lemons, it's not a different lemon tree. What they're doing is they're extracting what's phototoxic out of that lemon, because I don't know if you've listened to any of my previous classes, I described this and explained this to you, that it's just like a cake. Cake is not cake. Cake is sugar and eggs and flour and maybe a splash of vanilla and all of this stuff. Same with essential oils. There's, you know, dozens, sometimes hundreds of individual constituents that make up the essential oil. So whether it's phototoxic, whether it you know, potentially carcinogenic, whether it's phytotoxic, whether it's hepatotoxic, you know, all of these things are determined by the actual constituents found in the individual essential oils. So that is where we get the topical maxes for these. So I hope that explains. So dilution is not relevant in diffusion. Correct. My hubby seems to sneeze a lot when I diffuse a blend. You know, that can happen. You know, it could be maybe you're diffusing too long. Maybe there's something he's sensitive to that's in the blend. I'm not saying there's no reactions at all for diffusing. You definitely want to make sure that you're diffusing for short periods of time. You know, 30 to 60 minutes max is recommended, and then give your body a break. So using less of one oil won't help. You mean when you're diffusing? Or when you're using topically? When you're diffusing. It may, you know, if you know which is setting him off, it could be that just in general that it's stimulating. You know, I have a breath spray that I have from Tropical Traditions. Every time I use it, it makes me sneeze. Every single time. And it does have essential oils in it. It has peppermint and different things. And I think it's strong. It is really strong. So it could just be that your husband is sensitive to something in it. It could be just essential oils in general. It may just be a little bit too overwhelming. There are people who diffuse, and then even maybe after 15 minutes, they start to get a headache. They might start to feel nauseous. I guess it depends on how close is the diffuser to you. Is it like right next to you, or is it several feet away? You know, there are things to take into consideration when you're diffusing as well. So it's not just all about topical. But these percentages here are for when you're using topically, because generally it can cause skin issues, and that's the reason for the dilution. It can either thin the blood, it can cause sensitization, phototoxicity, neurotoxicity, and actually, as far as blood thinning, thank you so much for the hearts, guys. You guys are awesome. I can't believe I'm going over an hour with all of this. Oh my goodness, your poor fingers. For blood thinning, it can actually, even with diffusing, it can cause the blood to thin. So if you are on blood thinners, then it's something you definitely want to be careful of. It may be something you either want to use very low dilution of, or you may want to avoid altogether. So it totally depends on you. So this has been awesome, guys. I really appreciate it. I really do. And thank you so much. He's sensitive to peppermint, right? Okay, if you use 100 drops of orange and 1 drop of peppermint. If you are using that many drops in the diffuser, that is too much. That is too much. You want to use no more than, 5 or 10 drops in a diffuser at a time. 100 drops is way too much to be using in a diffuser. Oh, in a blend. Okay, yeah. Right, exactly. You can cut it down in the blend. Right, you can cut it right down in the master blend and see if that helps. Absolutely. Definitely. That would be a great thing to do. So, thank you so much. I know I mentioned this last week, and if you guys were very generous showing me some PayPal love. So I offer these things for free. And if you have appreciated my time, if you have learned something, if this is something that has benefited you, I do have a PayPal link. If you'd like to send a few dollars my way, that would be awesome. And here's my PayPal link, paypal.me/LeahHarrisUEOS. So I appreciate that so much. It lets me know that you guys are appreciating me offering my time for you guys and teaching you how to use essential oils safely. So I am going to get off, and I'm going to, as soon as my fullscope.tv is ready, I'm sorry, I'm going to hop over to Fullscope, and I'm going to see who is the Heart War winner. Okay? So I'm going to see which one of you guys needs some helichrysum rubbed into those fingertips. Alright, I appreciate it so much. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for your wonderful questions. If you have any questions about what I went over, you can probably find it right on my diluting link using eossafely.com/dilute. Please come back on Monday at noon. We will be having the anti-germ class right here on Periscope, Monday at noon. If you want to get a jump start, we will be over at Google Hangouts Sunday evening at 7:30 p.m. and you can find that at using eossafely.com/liveclass, and that will bring you right to it. So thanks, guys. You guys are awesome, and I hope you have a great day.